What's up? We're in the next part. We're busy talking about witchcraft, right? And my absolute hatred of it. Not just hatred of the sin that is witchcraft, but the actual witch. And I'm not even here trying to lie. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because as a Christian, it is expected of us to, by God, yes, He expects us to be mature, to turn the other cheek, to not repay evil for evil, and all that jazz, but rather, heap coals of shame on their heads. But it does absolutely nothing for you as a Christian to lie and pretend that you are mature in the way that Christ anticipated you to be mature. The devil is the father of lies, and so you do better by confessing your sins to one another that you might be healed. You do better to admit that you're struggling with forgiveness. You do better to admit that you're struggling with magnanimity. You do better to admit that you're struggling with basically giving grace to certain people. And so therefore, you might find prayers being given you. You might also be awarded grace by the Lord according to Romans 7, where it is that it is written, who will rescue me from this body of death? So your body of death is producing sins that you really would love to brittle, but you're having a hard time brittling them by the Holy Spirit putting to death the deeds of the body, because the wickedness around you is so exorbitant that it's becoming really rough for you to maintain holiness. So it's better for you to confess your struggle in this regard rather than just talk Christianese. Speak about something that's not a true reality, because God is not mocked. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, so too shall he reap. So if you sow to the flesh, you will reap corruption. And so if you keep on lying to yourself, speaking things that really you imagine the world desires to hear as a Christian, what is this? But really truly your heart is in a different place. God is the one that tests the heart. So you're better off confessing to your brethren around and to God that you're struggling with this thing, instead of patronizing God with the mockery of acting as if though you're cool with people when you ain't. You ain't never gonna heal when you're walking around in that state. So I'm out here confessing that with a purple hatred and lokzonda of them has been inspired by this thing, and I'm trying to help you understand where I'm coming from, and I'm also trying to help you understand that it is highly likely that God is going to forgive me for this, Romans 7 style, because I am trying really hard and have been for like an entire decade to give these randos grace, but all they can do, instead of receive the grace, instead of receive the mercy, they rather just keep going back to the drawing board over and over and over and over again and over and over again. It's like being scourged, and you keep on healing as Wolverine over and over and over again, and they expect you that because you've got the supernatural healing power that you're gonna just keep on taking the scourging in your stride for wire. At some point you gotta fight back. At some point you gotta stand firm and say, no, I will take no more lashings on my back. So labandlaba, their gaslighting is the very thing that enables them to make their way back into the lives of people they've afflicted so terribly. And their gaslighting is so effective that you will literally live with someone that has told you that your reality is false and the one that they've created for you is true. They have messed with your mind. They have mind raped you. They have mind controlled you. They have thoroughly made out of you an experimentation of MK Ultra. And given that that's what they've done with you, you have no business hanging out with these people. You gotta shut them out. Door slam them. The Lord even makes it clear that you gotta, at some point, dust your feet off. You gotta know when to dust your feet off, and also when to continuously award people grace and mercy. There are people that you just gotta walk away from. And I mean, abatagati for me are number one in the list of people in Jeffela Uyabashia, first and foremost, and fast and furious, because of the fact that every single time you try to help them come around and repent, they will deny it. They will scream to the whole planet that we are Shanya. They will even try to incarcerate you, put you in chains. They will try and put you in a mental hospital. Do you understand? They will erode away at your character. They will revile your name in society. And due to the anonymous nature of witchcraft, they will literally turn the entire planet against you. And when the whole world is then against you, you are then all by your lonesome as a disregarded, marginalized nobody in society. Out here standing on a rooftop talking about how a very respectable person in society, do you see how that can make you look dumb? That's why I keep a writer off. That's why I keep badly. That's why I don't accommodate them. That's why as soon as I find out there's no mercy there. Why? Because they have been unmerciful, and the only thing that causes witches to do a better thing is exposure. It's like they want to get busted in the middle of the night, flying on a broom, landing on some unfortunate old lady's outside toilet, and getting busted with flashlights and everything by the villagers. And then because now he's like literally being caught in the act, only then is he like, I'm sorry Kimaswabi, I'm sorry Kimaswabi. But if somebody suspects him of doing that, if somebody gets a dream about him doing that, this guy is gonna deny it from here to Timbuktu. What do I deny? Anzali pizza lenda mo godima toilet ya ka montle yang gono. Mama see who it's a ritual. O tlo deny a tsena bolaile ngono batho. O deny a bola tsena bolaile bana ba ifoko community about human sacrifices. O deny until a bankwa in the act with a smoking gun. and literally standing over a cadaver. That's the only time they confess. And since most of them don't get busted like that, you're gonna hang out in a relationship with friendship. Break up bread pizza. Somebody is sowing discord between you and your husband. That's witches for you. I have dealt with them for an entire decade. Do you understand? And Loathe that's ever apologized to me. There isn't even one that's ever come out and said, Karabo, I did it hard. I'm sorry. Look at how marginalized I am. Look at how ostracized I am. Look at how disenfranchised I am. Look at how much ke everything. They denied what they did. People who denied what they did. Look at this life and you these people are prepared. Do you understand? Or figures that to a point where you are nobody. You've been steamrolled on the floor, flattened. They will wait for you to go 6 feet under before they go in their little secret private closet and talk to you since they believe in ancestors and say, I'm sorry I killed you, girl, but I couldn't let you expose me like that. So the best thing you can do for yourself is entirely, because a lot of people, the way that they deal with the gaslighting of witches, given that witches have this power to cause the ostracization of their victims, is just to get any kind of semblance of a normal life. They accommodate them again just so they can have a normal life. Essentially what I'm trying to explain is that they finally prosper to get their victims to kiss their buttocks. They get their victims to kiss their behinds. Umuntu okubulalele indoda. You are going to be kissing their behind at some point. That's what they prosper to do. They are megalomaniacal and narcissistic and utterly unprepared to confess into abayenzile. Ngibazamile for an entire decade lankutla. Kezamme honta nyoko eba yentseng ke ba sendetse di text message di email ka ba jotso go ba nkentseng ba bona bophelo ba ka. On top of that, they saw my life for what they did, and instead of appropriately responding, they insisted ukuthi bazongizibisa ngeplanet yonke. They're gonna cause me to be ignored by an entire planet. A person with this kind of content on YouTube akayindawo ngoba lamandla lezinja lezi zibhokile everywhere all over the show. Angispice kelemsabang bathandi. They are unlike other sinners. A murderer that's gonna go and drive a knife into a woman's heart like I said, there's like a knife that can be found with fingerprints. There's like DNA that can be collected from underneath the fingers or of the fingernails of the victim. There's stuff that can be done to ultimately identify them. Bangabatola. Lo muntu lo zokubulala in a car accident ahlale office. Aduthi ko office. Got 3 p.m. in the afternoon. He's in the office. He's chairing a meeting while you're getting into a car accident. The ritual of which was done 2 weeks ago. And it was only a matter of time before you passed away. That guy is the one and that is trying autonomy. They take away people's autonomy to think, independence of thought. They literally scramble people's brains. They cause glitches in the matrix. And they expect victims able to salivate at their feet, groveling and begging me like, Usomanda ungiyenze ever so differently. Usomanda has made out of me. Umdalo has made out of me. Umuntu ongaspice kelem. Hakeko manipulate wana kidiklar. Harzoleng pele rebale di commandments ko Exodus, you shall not commit adultery. Now, I have got all of these random men attempting ugungieza mina a second wife or something, or maybe even a mistress altogether, the way they're so brazen. Recently, I got a DM on Facebook by some married guy, some married dude lengwa. Now, DM me like profiling he likes my YouTube channel. Clearly, how do you listen to my content, for crying out loud, and then still DM me as a married man? I don't know. I guess when people are crazy, they're crazy. Busy spinning on a spot. Alo dula guy in a straight suit. Ale high on some meds 24 hours a day. Yeah. You can't talk sense into them. When a person is trying to exploit the situation, they will exploit it. America. I get these Americans with me, but then again, South Africa, or you go and you grab your most beautiful women, you go and you grab your most glorious gems, and you just give them every talented thing. So it is all these American men that keep on hitting me up. And one recently from freaking New Jersey. Like, thoroughly. Was out here on some, let me pray, I want to pray with you. It's like, first of all, why are you DMing me? Why aren't you just praying for me? Mo dutsing teng. Ka o ka ngapella ha eba ne re o ritual ha ka lo ke nna. Ha eba no rata YouTube channel ya ka like o subscribe. I can do something to proliferate my agenda along. O ska emela hore nna ke tlo responda ko wena. And then upon responding, you're then going to have an exchange with me. And then next thing you start sending me money. And then next thing I've got another stalker on my hands. I've got one American man and one is enough. Mara, Tabaori, a married man can easily just direct message me. It's evidencing in Dabayoguti I'm being disrespected over here by a man who thoroughly anticipates the day is going to arrive when I'm going to take the position as mistress. Like, it is so disrespectful when married men who know they are married, do you understand? Of course they know they're married, but like, it's almost as if the way they still shell ingati base high school ngakon. Hey, a married man ozazi ukuthi uchatile ngoba ngisho sometimes they suffer from amnesia. Azokshela, like properly, you like, there was years ago there was a celebrity in this country. He passed away. Okay, I don't even know if I should like tell you who it is because for the sake of the wife, let me not mention his name. But it was a black celebrity man that passed away that was married to a white woman, and he was a handsome man. Do you understand what I'm saying? Years ago, when I was still working at MTN, I went to the spa here and I saw the celebrity in the spa, and I recognized him as a celebrity. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I looked in his direction and looked away quickly, and he was like trying to talk to me. He was literally trying to have a conversation with me. I was not trying to be with a celebrity man because I didn't know a celebrity type establishment thing. I didn't know that he was married at all. But this guy was busy following me around the spa, trying to basically make me into a mistress. I never made an observation of a wedding ring or anything like that, but I came to learn only once he passed away, and the information, the news was doing the rounds in the media that he had been married at the date of his passing away, something like like 15 to 17 years. So Kochore, at the time when he was busy hollering at me, he was basically either a newlywed or not too long ago, like maybe 5 years married to that woman. And you are at the spa probably buying lunch, dinner for the children, maybe buying some flour for the wife to bake. And then you see a beautiful young professional walking into the spa and you want to just, ask her to be a mistress. Just like that. Like, you're married and you're literally asking a single woman that does not have a husband. She is, looking forward basically to meeting a man and that's going to make out of her an honest woman. And you want to go and grab her and just put her in some townhouse that you're going to be paying for. Like, just basically grab a woman that some other man could make an honest woman and just make her settle for 26th of December and for the day after his birthday to celebrate with you, just to be a lifetime mistress. Like, that level of rapacity. But unfortunately there are women who settle for stuff like that. And in 2023, these kinds of men who are rapacious for single women who ought to get taken up by other men that they might stop being so single already. Married men who are greedy for such single women are now using witchcraft to cause single women to accept the status of a mistress, to accept the status of the taboo side piece that is going to be seen on the 26th of December and not on Christmas. The one who is not going to get to spend her man's birthday with him, but the day after. The man, the woman that is going to always take second best. The woman that is going to have to go through all different kinds of channels to basically get her lover boy to transfer funds into her account because their baby is sick. Like, mistresses have always been a very strange phenomenon for me. I've never understood what's going on over there. You know that silly song, yeah, Whitney Houston? There's a whole mistress song, yeah, Whitney Houston, that I only discovered upon listening to it this year only. Because you guys know I dance a lot to old school music because it tends to be cleaner than all the other stuff that they're doing in 2023. And Whitney Houston is among the artists that I dance to the music of, but there was a song that I heard along the way as I was dancing to it, that it's about being a mistress. What is it? Saving all my love for you. Yeah, I like that song. I listened to it as a child on a loop, like over and over, and I was just busy bopping, swaying to it until this year when I was working out and I was listening to the lyrics as I was working out, and I was like, what the heck? Like, what? This is a song about adultery. I was out of my mind shocked about the fact that she was like, hey, I'm busy with your husband and really I don't want anybody else. You keep saying you're gonna leave her, and I'm like, Whitney, this song was so famous. You know that song, I'm saving all my love, I'm saving all my love for you. It was so famous. So I guess like there were that many mistresses on the earth to basically relate with that dumb song. Well, I had to skip past that song and stop dancing to it now that I woke up in like literally a good 30 years too late, 20 years later, that song was that thing. But there are men who literally grab women and make out of them Whitney Houston in Saving All My Love. Like a woman that is just so irrational. She's young, she's beautiful, she's got a whole future ahead of her. There are men who want her. There's a man who's trying to propose marriage to her in 2 days, and she's like, but I'm saving all my love for you. She's literally singing that dumb song to some married man, and he is being glorified. He is being luxuriated by a mistress that looks at him like he is a god. Like no other man exists that can ever do a better thing where she is concerned. I have been head over heels mindlessly and effortlessly, violently in love with a man that went and married another woman, and I mourned for 6 months in denial, and I prayed to God until he purged the sorrow out of my heart. And now today, it's like nothing ever happened. It's like nothing ever happened. Even the prospect of having ever ended up with him kind of makes me cringe, because he was dark as well. He was also into witchcraft. He was one of those randos. But during the time when I was all up in love with him, I wanted nothing and no one else. One time in the bathroom when I was brushing my teeth and I was busy mourning over the loss of this guy, God was like, you love him today, but there is a man that is coming that you're gonna love more. And I was like, no, but I want him. I literally had a little mini argument with God where I was like, but I want him. I was irrational. And 6 months later, after finding out that he got married, the Lord purged that out of me, meaning that it is actually possible to get cured, do you understand, from just a terribleness of emotion over a man that you're so besotted with that you can't fathom being with anybody else. So if the Lord can heal me, if he could heal me from that kind of turbulent emotional state in my heart, in terms of emotions for a man, then it is utterly possible for him to do it for anybody else, because I'm not special. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But there are men who go and they mess with women's feelings to a point where they feel as if though, I gotta go, and basically I had a friend who was a mistress and the guy passed away. She was a mistress and the man passed away. She couldn't go to the funeral. She had to mourn by herself. The only person giving her comfort was the best friend of this guy. He died in a car accident, and the only person that, first of all, the person who called her to let her know that he died was the best friend of this guy, and he comforted her during the duration of time when she was on the phone with him. And after the funeral, he called her again on some, this is what happened at the funeral, Megunjena, I'm sorry, sort of kind of comforting my friend. Yeah, she could not talk to anybody. She could not, like, no one, no, if that best friend didn't tell her that her man had died, she would have called him and not found out, like, really just kind of pulled out her hairs, trying to figure out, where is my boyfriend? Where is my lover? And during the time when they were busy talking, he was rapping on about how his wife is that, his wife was that, they're separating, he's unhappy, blah, blah, blah. And yet, even though he was apparently, allegedly, over the moon, beside himself with adoration for her, ain't nobody out here knew about her except for his best friend, with whom he was he was every so often in frequenting these streets, dalliancing around with mistresses. The two of them used to cheat on their wives together, so of course, he knew her. He knew my friend. After that event, I was like, yes, and maybe you should just kind of like avoid a married man. That's what's good, because then if you continue in this state, next time you're gonna get a wife azokfonela after umyeni wakhona passes away, because she found your SMSs inside his phone after he dies, and then you're gonna be getting all lambasted with abuse by a widow. You don't want that. Puma kula madoda achadile. Yeah, there are women that are prepared to take that in their stride, not taking into consideration that these men might die, that they might, like, something might happen that would cause them to now all of a sudden have to surface, especially if you go and you give a married man a baby. He's out here cheating on his wife with you, and you go and you give him a baby, and now there's like a whole child. So when he passes away, their dad has passed away. So what, is your son not going to go to the funeral of his own dad? Is that what's going to happen? Now, like, when it comes to the insurance policies, this is an heir. Like, this child is his heir as well. So what are you going to do? There are women who take that in their stride. They don't calculate. All they think about is romance and, in the heat of that particular moment. And they don't think about the logistics of things like death. Like, magashona lo muntu lona uzohlazwa as side piece that's going to be bringing around a 5-year-old child, when this guy has got, like, 20-year-old children that are getting married, training university, and you have just given them, like, they just found out which they've got like a half sibling that's only 3 years old because daddy has got a mistress. Daddy has a mistress. Yeah, there are men who use witchcraft to do that, to cause that level of folly in the minds of women. To cause a woman who has never had children, never been married, never basically just done the whole 9, and just cause them to basically give a married man all the things that you would give a husband. I also had another friend when I was what is this? I was like maybe 21. And she was 24. She was the secretary. She was more the friend of my cousin. She was the PA/secretary of some older married man that was married to a white woman that was unfortunately infertile. She could not she struggled with fertility. She struggled to conceive. And this woman worked a job for this guy, had an affair with him, and agreed to give him the children that he never had in the marriage. He of course never divorced his wife. He also never told his wife that he was going on right ahead to make a baby of his own seed with somebody else, since she can't give him a baby. And so I wonder today what's going on there. This guy has got, I'm pretty, that kid now today is like what, a teenager. That kid today is now a teenager. Does this teenager know that his dad is married to a white woman? Does this white woman know her? Did this white woman forgive? What in the world? Guys, this chick was 24 years old, never married, never had children, single, thriving, beautiful. And she gave a married man. She literally became a surrogate for a married man, except she was the baby mama to keep the baby. That's what happened. Ubtagati will cause women to become that dumb. Witchcraft will cause a woman to allow herself to be that dumb. So when somebody takes away your autonomy, when you're the kind of woman that tells yourself that you will never ever be with a married guy, and then next thing you are out here not only being with him but giving him a child that is a secret baby, accepting the 26th of December instead of Christmas Day to spend with him, accepting Indaba Yoguti on his birthday, you're gonna see him at night because his family is going to be spending the day with him. You must just take in your stride that Easter is not yours, Christmas is not yours, holidays are not yours, except for the day after, when now Boxing Day and now Christmas, the wife. And you just take that, and you take that from the time that you're 25 all the way up until you're 37. So you've lost all of your good years, and only then you're like, you snapping out of it on some. This time you've got like a 10-year-old kid, and you're like, I'm not funuk chat. Yo, ufunuk chat, I'm not 37. Like you like, yeah. Now only there was some duru tamba megafuna high and low when you were 30, when you were 28, and you were like, no tamba, I'm saving all my love, I'm saving all my love, I'm saving all my love for Jabu, of which is a married man, and akaze I divorce the wife. Ngifuna mina ngamadoda anjalo. I am wanted by men like those. Abotemba, not Abotemba, so Abojab. I'm being wanted by Abojabu, married men with no intention of ever leaving their wives. Not that I would ever want a man who wants to leave his wife, because that is adultery. Okay, yeah. And they're telling themselves that they can change my autonomy. They can mess with my mind. My computer gimo, it's restarting on its own. It was inevitable. It was pulling stunts, but at least I have prospered to get my content out. So there's gonna be a little bit of a dingy thing going on over here. Yeah, I have gotten dreams of married men who happen upon my content for the first time, have not really listened to any of my historical videos, don't know how I feel about this issue, listen to some other issue, maybe even watch one of my workout videos, and then I like, okay, get about a couple of stunts, make an observation too of my sorrow, of my suffering, all of the things that I'm going through, yeah, and then conclude that Aganamuntu anyway, she's struggling, she's suffering, Muse, and I like her. And goodness, imagine if what my life would be like if I had a woman like this by my side. Njefela, somebody that I mean, this is the kind of woman that gullibility, credulity dwells in the veins of, because she has no money. So I'm just gonna go on right ahead and set her up in a townhouse apartment. I'm going to set her up with a nice little car, you know. I'm going to furnish it. I am going to give her everything she wants. I will enable her along. Do you understand? Yeah, and then she's going to be my lifetime mistress, Nyamfuna, perpetually. But I'm not leaving my wife. Yes, like it. Kabang. I mean, the level of rapacity in that. It's greedy. Not only is it greedy, it is incredibly narcissistic. It is selfish towards the cause of that woman in question. But, you know, these are people that could not give a rat's behind about what anybody thinks, because it's all about me, and me, and me. It's a party for me. I can do nothing but everything for me. Tomorrow it's me, the next day it's me. Yesterday it always has been me. Left on the right, look at everybody. They also all agree it's about me. Yeah, that guy. Everything is about him. No consideration at all for the future of a human being, other than somebody that is going to be there to titivate their loins, please them, and then he's going to be speaking smack about his wife with his mistress while she's saving all his love for him. The man of which is scared out of his mind to hurt his wife, to break the heart of his wife of how many years, but to you he speaks about her like she ain't jack. And there are married men even that are so demanding over mistresses, the way that they are so megalomaniacal over them, that if these women dare even speak anything negative about their wives, they actually afflict them with rebuke. They rebuke them on some, don't you talk about my wife like that, because they've agreed, they've entered into a contract. Ugutimina, I'm a mistress and that's where it ends. Just pay my ways, pay my bills, just make sure that my rent is paid, just make sure that my car is this. You put yourself, women, in a position like that, only for this man to become so possessive that when you finally want to now leave, you want to go and get married, now you want your own. Now you want to be the wifey that I guess some man is also going to give you grief and make somebody else a mistress at your expense. But anyway, you want to experience being number one. And when you then want to be number one, that's when these men are like, over my dead body. That's when you leave in a casket. That's when he uses so much witchcraft that that's when he uses so much witchcraft that you will go nowhere. You will not move. Witchcraft has emboldened men and women, I guess, but at this point I'm speaking about men. It has emboldened men to imagine that they can go on right ahead and get everything that they want, have their bread buttered on both sides, have their cake and eat it too. Do you understand? All over these streets, insofar as as a puppet on a string, they convert women into these dumbbells that are docile, that are happy to be second, third, fourth, fifth wife, sometimes even agreeing to be sister wives with another woman, because what's about manipulate? He knows how to manipulate entirely strong women. Do you understand? Strong-willed women into agreeing to be sister wives. Unoba second wife, unoba third wife, unotlwaetse go ba kgosigadi, unotlwaetse go ba number one, unotlwaetse go ba pedestaled, unotlwaetse go ba medi, unotlwaetse wena who ba the main thing, the be all and end all, no le popular ko sekolong ana mshimane no sa batle. And now today you are accepting third wife. You are entering into a common law marriage with a man that's making you wife number 3. Just like that. That's happening in South Africa all over the show. There are all these glorious women that are independent, like thought leaders in their spaces. They are well regarded, respected, they're educated, and they're out here agreeing to be wife number 2, wife number 3, wife, no, what the heck? Only look at what happened Kamshoza before she passed away. How in the world did that girl agree to be wife number 7, 8, now king number 3, whatever, just enter into a whole polygamous affair? Who in the world does that to people and then is okay later on? Old ling jwalo, ko bathong, I want to expect our Lord ratwa perpetually in society. Who in the world is like that and expects that they're going to continue to maintain lerato mo society? If I'm going to find you out as such a thing as that, not only am I going to gwara you, no keep that you got all over the show, and then after you keep certain, put her out there that I'm spice girl, I'm shopping no even if you die, I cannot die. I cannot die lauka tlhokafala obuti. Lauka wa itse keng he mayo last. Ke o ka disappear mo lefatsheng because ha ona motho o tlo go gopolang. Because we kentse le khadima le lo tsayang batho le ba change di destiny. Jaka ha we kentse le khadima ga kana. Another why under heaven must anybody respect you? Ha se o bantlilwe ke a o ka ntshwa dzonga tswa penyana ya teng. Walk around very uncomfortably all over society, having kept in a bunch. Something is wrong. That's why that's why the diagnosis that the cancer the prostate cancer the breast cancer. That's why the stroke the site they want to label lazy. That's why it's not alone. That's why it's not banale meningitis or banale cerebral palsy or banale Down syndrome. I cannot and it's by because whatever under heaven it is that you are reaping when you deserve it. You go and you grab a whole like independent thought leader. Noodles are intact. I can drink it on best you are muntringesa. Hata nyama rona wo motlapedisa. Motho ga tlhapelwa mara o motlapedisa wena. O monka mosadi ka ofela feletseng. Ga ona ntwe shotang. O bo mo etsa mistress. Ka nnete ngwana teng ngwana 24. Ga so nyalo gana bana gana ntwa gana katse gana next ebe wena o tlo montsenza ka fa gara mistress status until she's 35. A bona ukuthi ubuthakathi lo bula bahambe khona. Ungazongitshela ngo saving all my life for you Whitney Houston. And so when then you take away people's autonomy Until a woman wakes up at the age of 35, 36, 37, realizing she gotta leave a married man that she's been with since 24. That's when then you start to develop all different kinds of hostilities in your heart. That's when anger becomes a thing. That's when you start to that's when the spikes out of your head. That's why you become an urchin. That's why you become like a whole porcupine. I know much that can come close to you without getting pricked. And so manje, when hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, when you convert a woman into a scorned woman like that, guys, mina ngizothi ngikhalelani mase bakudiagnose nge-prostate cancer. I'm your bot and daughter grandchild ngifila ngathi le cancer lena iqolelile iqoleletse ikufile amnesty because you should have just gotten mowed down nje fela mo strateng as you are driving. Ngisale wa kena mo car accident wa ska fuwa nako ya lo nahana ka ntho we yentseng mo lifeng. Prostate cancer ya teng ke fila nkare senya nako. It's us ba ka go metastasize. Ke fila nkare tshwantsho lo ntshuwa nje fela ka plane crash or a car accident, anything, heart attack, overload, drop it dead, literally within seconds. Because how in the world you gonna go and grab a 25-year-old woman and make her a mistress for 10 years and then only be prepared to let her go? Or that's what I'm dealing with. And so if at all you feel like na mollo tswa mo mruwa go tukang jaka ga ba nkentse medusa go tswa dinoga mo tlhogonyaka ga ba nne feel like go inappropriate for me to be like that way tseng tsamayang tsolang pele le ntlo le tswa le tsawa ke magadi ba banna a strike mo maphelong a lona. Next thing ga we born ga o ti recognize ga o bone grandchild romang ga o sa gopola ke leina la gago mo spilling ga o itsheba ga we born wena o tsamaile wa lo chase the waterfalls. And now that this guy has made out of you a byword, a monument in society, because nadi filang kare ntweke yemetseng ha iteng. Why? Because when I was settled of being a mistress for 7 years, is that it? Ke borwa ke daideng. Jwanong you can understand hey ha kere ga ka tlhoya an adulterer or an adulteress or a man o batlang go ntsaya kangkana. Ke tlhoile o tlo batlang go ntsaya anketse gore nna ke nana gore ga ke tsaye ke tsaye. Ke borwa ke the guy. I get annoyed by the guy. I'm sorry, those of you if you're still hanging around with me not speaking English. I'm annoyed by the guy. Not so much that it's trying to make me a mistress. I had a guy like that at MTN that thoroughly kept on hovering around my desk. I'm bored. At MTN, the Active Directory would give you cell phone numbers of staff members. It was a telecommunications company, so our numbers, our work numbers were our cell phones. Meaning that unlike a regular company's Active Directory where your number would be the landline number at your desk where you answer, company, this is Karabo, what's up? Do you understand? At MTN, our work numbers, our work phones were our cell phones because it was a telco. And so basically everybody had your private line. What's going on? Like everybody at work could know your number. Everybody at work could call you at home. Everybody at work could call you at home. Unless of course you took your MTN cell phone and threw it away in the dustbin when you got home and picked it up out of the dustbin in the morning to go to work in order to separate work from play. Otherwise most people at work used to basically have their MTN given SIM card number and work phone as like a general life phone, where it is that children call you, everybody calls you, your sporting club calls you, your mom calls you, everybody, the restaurant where you left your bag calls you on that phone. So now this dude, so what issue it created was that guys that are out here like salivating or crushing on you at work could thoroughly just out here drop you text messages on the weekend. It's like, what are you doing? There's no work here. So why are you writing me on the weekend? Why are you emailing me? Why are you texting me? Why are you trying to holler at me? Why am I getting your caller ID? Like Papa on Saturday at like 2 p.m. Is there an emergency M17 that requires me to come in on the weekend? In which case then overtime letters right now. Overtime. No, this guy started to harass me on the weekends, for crying out loud, and on the evenings during the week. Like I didn't even work with him. I was not working closely with him. One of my colleagues worked with him in a project, and she came to my desk, introduced me to him, and told him that I am a Christian, showed him my blog, and I spoke to him trying to reach him for Christ for like 5 seconds. He left, following which the dude then went on right ahead to find my email, started emailing me at work, and then I would like respond to him very succinctly to hint with my one-word answers that I'm not trying to perpetuate this conversation. He then started to like call me. Hey, how you doing? I'm like, whoa, what? Where'd you get my number? I didn't give it to you. I didn't give you my number. I did not give you my number, but then again, MTN, it's on the Active Directory. So he called me on the weekends and whatnot, and at some point I ended up sending him a text message on some, you're a married man, please stop doing this. And he was like, no, but I just want to talk about Jesus. So yeah, trying to use my religion and everything. Like this random okie on Facebook telling me that he wants to pray with me. And I'm like, mapumpele, you think Christian women are gullible or credulous, that's what's good. You imagine that just because we come in the name of Jesus Christ, that we must be one of those gullible randos that, insofar as you like saying, I'm praying for you and God bless you, that she's going to let you hang out in her ecosystem, thoroughly like encroaching on her personal space. Yeah, this guy encroached on my personal space. Was out here calling me on the weekends. I would ignore his calls as they came in as I saw the caller ID. But because I made sure to save his number because I realized he was stalking me during the week. So I ignored him and then he started texting me. And then when he was texting me, that's when I sent him an email. I said a text message on some, you're married, blah, blah. And then he was like, no, but I just want to know Jesus. I want to know that. I was like, find a pastor. I was like, check out this link on YouTube, blah, blah. These guys can lead you, evangelize you unto Christ. As for me, you're stumbling again. He ultimately did leave me alone, but he was a married man. What was he trying to do? He was bored in his marriage, maybe not even bored, just greedy, rapacious, yeah. And he was like, oh, there's a pretty little thing in the office I wanted. And I'm like, really? Hey, and you're gonna then kind of like slither in the name of my Jesus. The audacity. Do you think Christian women are credulous? You take us for a fool. We're strong. We're strong-willed. We are thick-skinned and all that jazz. We are not fluffy because of religion. Like that's what, it is a stereotype. I don't even understand because Christians are made bold and fiery, fervent, soldier-like. Do you understand? Very focused. Because of the Holy Spirit. It does not make us credulous or namby-pamby. So people thinking they can take religious people for granted. Religious people are the worst people to think they're gullible because look at what Hamas is doing. That's in the name of religion. It's the religious ones that you need to be afraid, very afraid of. Because solid. We're going to be irritated with your dalliances or attempts at them. Your encroachings, your little fingernails that are grubby and black nails, trying to like grab our breasts. We're gonna like wham them with a hammer because that's what religion does. It makes us super strict. So to think that because a person is religious, that's the thing that you're gonna slide in through, like I said, if you're gonna underestimate religion as being credulous, fluffy, and namby-pamby, only go look at Islamic jihad. It'll explain to you, Jack Grenshap, truly how religious people are, especially when they're very, very, very extreme. They don't take prisoners. So I don't know where your mindset is coming from. I'm not encouraging you to go and be an Islamic jihadist, but I'm just trying to discourage people who think religious women and men are credulous, namby-pamby, and gullible. Far from it. We're the worst kind of people to try and like stealthily infiltrate rubbish into the lives of. We are the most unbarging people on the earth. So I guess my mindset is that basic. Anyway, that whole adultery thing. I can take an adulterous man who is not using witchcraft all up in my grill, trying to slide his grubby fingers into my DMs. I can take that any day. And tomorrow, perhaps pray for him to do a better thing. That's what's good. Bizantsang tumpanang just I didn't turn another bega mina pela with the go double obut. Go double mo lifing. Go tabaka tipa engwe had noko. Go bina cell block tango haget keda. Jakarai chiki. Oh, like the pop. What na pop? Oh, what chepi so boran. Eh, unonto papa chepi study getting tawazamina as I get. Eh, you're gonna run into my knife. You're gonna run into my knife 10 times. That's what's good. Oh, bulawa, but waiting RIP to niggas cadavera. Situation and I talk niggas about my cold bed. Yonta, casket, demu, soil, waiting, le roll. Galga talokanyaro, Zanakafahara tombstone. If at all, to insist a whole lot than a more life nice, I got it. Go, you're gonna run into my knife, get a 10. Cause we business so papa chepis, because to heraho papa chepis. You are pop. I will sing cell block tango, ungasses by skelem. Hahona mosa. Morikaring. A regular house said this thing, waiting. Hi, Banela Batahua. If you don't want to be permanently resented by people, there is no mercy in witchcraft. People, when they find out or you've been manipulating them spiritually, what I am, pin drop in the ocean. Imagine adding a multiplier to it. So how ban go ikira moloi? How to ikira molotana yana? How ban wena o kgetha career as a liver exi? Ke a ka tlhaloganya o buta akere le OC gore o tlhowa in a way that is uneradicatable. How to batla. But wait, they're gonna have a hard time with forgiveness where you're concerned. I'm a Christian. I've been given the Holy Spirit, meaning that of all people on earth, I'm one of those people that are super duper magnanimous. We are the most forgiving, pliable, merciful people on earth. And if a Christian is having a hard time forgiving you, you ain't gonna have a very good time with everybody else. There is no mercy in witchcraft. There is no mercy. Like, people, when they find out you have done this to them, so be afraid, be very afraid. Do not put your fingers, your grubby ones, in that cookie jar. Don't do it, because the moment you do it and somebody finds out, spiritual gifting, pop, Cicero, lip shits. Oh, you guys, battle bina cell block tango. You had it coming. People are literally going to call you good riddance once they find you wanting. Boloi. The reason why humanity has been so antagonistic to it all throughout history is because it is so manipulative in a way. It's the thing of hauntings. It's the thing of hauntings, like Halochang. It's the thing of hauntings. Janong jeka haba chesa baloi. Kama dai re ko borasenbeke ko di plasing. Magaeng jaka haba chesa kama dai re ba tshela petrol mo moloing. Ke a ka tlhaloganya that the reason why that is the case is because boloi bo terrorize batho ba sa itse hore terror ya teng e tswa kae. They don't know where this terror is coming from. Batho ba ela ga ba gone robala. Bana ba tlhokafala. Human sacrifice, the organs tsa bana di a tsawa. Go a cheswa. In human sacrifice rituals, they do horrible things. And so once you get found wanting, from here to Timbuktu, celebrate in a fire, scream for mercy, and they will let you go. That's what witchcraft does. It produces vigilantes out of society, and once these vigilantes get their hands on the perp, it produces mercilessness on the part of vigilantes concerning the perp, such that no matter how much the perp might want to apologize, that's the problem. You literally insist on getting busted first. And you see, once you get busted, that's when it's too late. You are better off seeking a plea deal by apologizing before. Because then you display butt naked. It's a ritual. That's when you're gonna get the villagers burning. You gotta die. 1994, 1978, the days of apartheid, Babula and Uncle Tom. That's what you must understand. I've been trying to warn you for years. And if a Christian has gotten to a point where Hasa's bias get them salona, what then for everybody else always singing Salwan? Bonang South Africa really and saying, look at what you've done to South Africa. Just look at what you've done to South Africa. You have disenfranchised literally a whole probably double-digit percentage of the workforce of South Africa. You have caused a diaspora of the skills in this country. You have robbed our banks. You have given our economy a junk status. You have grey-listed us. You have decimated the nation. You have induced gender-based violence in men. You have messed with people's minds. You have created charlatans out of the workforce. You have made the body of Christ weary. You have ostracized voices of reason in the land. And you have taken doctors and put them in prison because they went and followed a witch man and bust them out. Why am I laughing? Do you seriously think finally, upon waking up, why do you imagine why do you think around your waists, around your necks, your shoulders, and then burned? Why is that thing? Look at what you've done to the country. You have impoverished the land. You have caused lootings. You have caused ravagings. It is why you will also completely disregard President bring President to justice because criminals are running the state and you're taking it in your stride. That is South Africa for you. So Jaka Hagera I spy. We're in the middle of a war, and just like Sabela, Wako Sarafina, Oshala Cherry that is literally rioting out here in these streets. You are irresponsible. You are irresponsible. You are irresponsible with black people first and foremost. And secondly, with the whole country seeing us. We are a black nation. We are an African nation. That anybody can do for you. To a point where you South Africa. So, even if you're indecisive where I'm concerned. I cannot die. But the thing is, I'm not even waiting for you to make a decision where I'm concerned. I don't need anyone to make a decision on my behalf because decisions have been made that are solidified and cast in stone in eternity by God. So I don't need anybody to do a better thing by me. All I'm saying is, this is what you produce, witches. The Lord's best friends alone. Your sisters, your brothers, people that you hold very dearly, and you just scatter them like sheep that have lost a shepherd all across a country that's not taking care of them. And you expect that once people find out that you're the perpetrator that did that they're not going to want to burn you, that they're not going to want to decimate you. Listen to South Africa, let's some very viable people. And then you insisted on running it as a bunch of mediocre folk. Batsebang a magic wand. Lo tumpwa. Hai banela survivor lo tumpwa maralo bruises. Otherwise, Lord Tlhokafala. And when you die, the world will say, good riddance. You've been warned. So all of these men with their adultery, trying to make out of me a mistress. But any religious woman is the last woman that you think you can infiltrate into the life of. Religious women are the last people that are credulous. So stop patronizing the crap out of religious chicks. Stop it. Hambanyolanda labo slay queen Ibo that are slayed to let king is tossed to and from by every wind of doctrine. Chelete is like what do you call this? Either a metronome or a watch, a clock, whatever. You know, a thing that kind of swings and hypnotizes people. Yeah, it works on slay queens. It works on women that have no moral compass, guys. Women that are not regulated by religion. Give on that you can swing some kind of a funny little medallion in their faces. And they'll just look at it and get all squint and be like, yes, sir, I will come after you. So I don't know why you imagine my religiousness, my religiosity, whatever might be the adverb there, why you think is the thing that makes me gullible. It never has been. It never has been. No one that is religious is gullible. I don't know why you think we are. I seriously don't know what your thought process is, but then again, satane ha bogile. Religious people have a moral compass that is, inspired by their religious text, and so you can't just sway them with money. You can't just grab them, njefela, and make them a whole mistress. They're always going to be thinking, what's my God thinking? They're always going to be attacked by a conscience, and especially if they belong to the one true religion, if they're Christian, and if they're indwelt by the Holy Spirit. Worse off are you in trying to imagine that you can gullibly cause a Christian woman in njefela and yet they are all up in my grill. That is why I guess I labored at length on adultery. You shall not commit adultery. I can take an adulterer any day and say to them, let he who has no sin cast the first stone. Poor thing, go and sin no more. And then pretend that I just fell in love with you and I'm saving all my love for you as a married man. Where when you gonna go and mess with me MK Ultra style, when you're gonna freaking frontal lobotomize me to fall in love with you, that's when we're gonna have some problems. And that's when I'm going to struggle to not cast the first stone. That's when I'm going to make out of you a Goliath, and then I'm gonna be David, and then I'm gonna cast that stone. Like straight here, right here, into your skull. And then when I'm done, I'm gonna sing Cell Block Tango. Banna badiklare. Ew. It's that basic. It's literally that basic. Witchcraft for me takes a trophy because it takes people's autonomy away. The next one is you shall not steal. Again, I can take a bank robber any day. Why? Because there's like fingerprints all up in his theft. There is a police investigation that can be done that can bust the bugger, okay? And put him in prison, apprehend him, reprieve society of his general presence. Yeah. But like, who in the world is protecting us from those that are stealing our jobs? Who is protecting us from those who are stealing our monies in our bank accounts? Those who are stealing our stars in the occult? Who in the world is protecting us from those who are stealing our wombs in order to go and make babies for the occult? Who under heaven is protecting us from those who are stealing our husbands, kakorobela, literally luring a woman's husband away from her to bring him into your bedroom because you just can't wait on the Lord for your own little husband? Yeah. Who is going to protect us from the Korobela junkie that is literally stealing your wife? Who is going to protect you from the man that is stealing your daughter's virginity? The daughter of which wanted to wait on God for a husband. But like, oh no, she met a guy wadiklare that, induced so much lust in her bones that she finally slept with him. Who in the world is going to protect Karabo from the theft of her health when an HIV positive man is trying to make her feel as if though, and think as if though, and imagine as if though, literally just putting all different kinds of funny little silver stuff on here, patching it onto me, and then releasing an electric charge to make me change my mind about being with an HIV positive man, even though I've never had children. I literally am so desirous of kids. I am broody like no man's business. And here is a man that can't help me make babies in peace, trying to make me accept him with his HIV status and the fact that he's got 2 ex-wives and some kids he's not even taking care of. Yeah. ufuna ukungena empilweni yami, and he has literally hooked up an electric charge on my brain, hoping that it's going to make me change my mind about him changing my bill of health. So when he steals my health and puts, a virus in my bloodstream, who is going to protect me from the theft of my health? I can take a bank robber with fingerprints and everything that we can look at, with DNA that can be collected, with hair follicles that will fall on the ground, and like I said, us collect DNA and then find him for what he is. The testimonies, the witness testimonies around as he's busy robbing the bank, the one place where he takes off his little covering on the face, and then like the store clerk at the opposite like supermarket sees him and then goes to the police on some, that's the guy, and then in the lineup you can be able to identify him. Yeah, there's due process. There is due process available. Do you understand? For us all, when we are stolen from by randos who can get busted, there is the electronic fingerprint or footprint, whatever you want to call it, of a hacker that you can ultimately get to if you get another really good hacker to identify the embezzler in the company. Yeah. But who in the world is going to find the hacker that embezzled your future wealth? Like the guy that went and grabbed your whole destiny and just threw it in the ocean and said, I am going to be the one to live in the mansion, not Karabo. I'm going to be the one to have the 3.5 kids. And I'm going to be the one to live in the house with 2 swimming pools and a tennis court. I am going to be the one that is in a jacuzzi with like a speakerphone, basically tuning into a meeting at work since I'm its CEO instead of Karabo. Yeah, who's going to protect me from that little bugger in the stupid jacuzzi? Who? You see, that's just the thing. Their stuff is anonymous. Don't nobody see how much wealth I've been stolen from, other than perhaps being able to hear it as I speak. Yeah. You can tell that I'm really smart, that I could have gone really far, but I'm nowhere. And my nowhere state, yeah, people are on some, you win some, you lose some. I mean, sometimes in life you get somewhere and then other times it just doesn't work. I'm sorry, no. I was not supposed to be where I'm at. I had actually started something here. I ignited some kind of a fire. Yeah, and it was just snuffed out one time. A fire does not just go off unless it gets snuffed out. Unless there is a hard knock wind. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted on by another force. I was on some velocity tip. I was like Sonic the Hedgehog. I was speed, walking, talking. I was like the Flash. And the Flash doesn't just stop unless he is acted on by another force. A woman flying up whatever ranks in society that she was supposed to frequent does not suddenly stop flying unless something happens. A bird in the sky will have to fly down and land to end up on the ground. And the only thing that would cause the bird to plonk to the ground is if while mid-sky somebody takes a gun and is like, Jew, and then poof, it plonks to the ground. I did not just gently lay down my career. I did not just gently put down my books and say I don't want to study anymore. I did not just gently say, oh, I don't want to get married, no, true, and I just want to be really irresponsible. From today going forward, I'm going to be just a vagrant in South Africa. Yeah, because I think it's a good look on me. I suddenly crashed. I was a bird soaring in the sky. No bird suddenly crashes unless it's shot down. So, I will say it again. An object in motion will stay in motion unless acted on by another force. That's Newton's second law of motion. So what in the world and heaven happened to me? I was acted on by another force. What is that force? The force that you think is with you because you think it's Star Trek. It's witchcraft. Yeah. And then for 10 years they denied it. They all denied it. And so since they denied it, I'm like, I'm so zoned. I don't like you. You have cancer, schmancer. Proper. What is it? Metastasizing to your lymph nodes? Die, dirty rat, die. Just go. I don't care. Because for a whole 10 years, you gave me a metastasizing cancer that was invisible, unseen. I don't know how many times I've said that I am like a terminal patient, even though I am fully healthy. I could die any minute now. People have metastasized whatever under heaven has happened to me, to a point where now I'm bordering on being terminal, even though I'm entirely healthy. I've got a cancer that is spreading, and the cancer is the incendiary activity of witches, and they're insisting that I have just thrown my life away when they acted upon it. They've given me a terminal illness and could not care less to even visit me in the hospital. Try and see if they can't perhaps, pray for me. Nothing. I've just been gazed upon like a crazy woman that ruined her own life. So now that they're getting actual breast cancer, now that they're getting actual strokes, now that they're getting actual headaches, and now that they're getting actual meningitis, and now that they're getting into actual accidents, I'm like, actually go in a casket because I actually don't care. I don't care. Like, people got me to that place. They got me to that place. So that's why I get it. When grace abounds, when sin abounds, grace abounds evermore. Because I've been trying to speak to a whole bunch of people while I have got machines hooked onto me, beeping every day. Boop, 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 I'm on life support, and I am like, give me mercy. Forgive. What is this? The word that I'm looking for? Confess what you did. Just admit that you were randos. Come on, don't come here in these streets and thoroughly expect me to embrace with every bone in my body. Just admit what you did, and they will do no such a thing. What is going on with my computer? They will do absolutely no such thing. And man, just seeing as these people are insistent on whatever it is that they want to insist on, given that they are persistent on, I was trying to find the time, and the whole time ribbon had hidden itself, and I was like, is my computer dead? Is it gone? What's going on? But like, nah, that was just like, I had to just, whatever, I'm moving on. Irrelevant side note that I digress. Yeah, moving on. Yeah, Labant Laba, they have watched me literally beg for mercy, and awarded me absolutely hollow note and ash worth of mercy. If anything, they've rather given me the opposite of mercy. And the Bible says in the Beatitudes, blessed are those who show mercy, for they will be given mercy. So I mean, you can necessarily trust that the opposite of that is true. The very diametrical opposition, the diametrically opposed opposite end of that is true. That those who are unmerciful will utterly be shown no mercy too. Like, if at all you have walked around like a brute beast, then like a brute beast will you be treated ultimately. I have tried. For me, it is about the theft of autonomy. It is about the fact that you are literally trying to make people believe that they've chosen things they haven't chosen. You are trying, like this dude from America is thoroughly trying to make me believe that I one day just made a decision as a whole responsible woman to marry a divorcee twice over with HIV, children he's not taking care of, has nothing. He's lost absolutely everything because of his life as a criminal. And I chose to just, bring him with his HIV to South Africa while leaving children that are thoroughly in need of him as a dad in America. And I'm just going to go and take him and then just test to see if I can't be on PrEP. Yeah, PrEP. To make sure that I can have sex with an HIV positive man and not get it. Yeah. PrEP. Minanyoba on medication, risking my HIV status. The negative one at that. Just because I chose to just love a man that the Lord said he is not for you to love. Because he cannot be your husband. Because he, one, is not a man of God. So it would be unequal yoking. Two, he's married twice over, both wives of which are still alive. So that would make out of you an adulteress. And three, he wants to make children with you, and yet there are kids that he's not taking care of in America. That's not a man for you to love. But he is using witchcraft to try and convince me that I chose him. It's just a theft of autonomy. So when I look at him, I see pop. He's like just popping bubblegum. Pa, 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 pa. And I'm like, stop popping bubblegum. Stop popping bubblegum. It's irritating. Just like throw it away. Find another way to play with bubblegum. Go and buy Mentos, something that doesn't pop, and chew on them. Like perpetually, please. Thermoregadi and diamonds. You know how you can be so addicted and just chew. If chewing is what you want to do, do it, but please don't pop bubblegum. And then bubblegum kept on being popped, and so he ran into my knife. 10 times. I will sing cell block tango. I sent him an email. Mauban. After getting a horrible nightmare, I briefly spoke about it yesterday, where it is that the guy was raping me over and over again. And I was in so much poverty with him, having just accepted it, and I finally fell pregnant. And I was confused about my HIV status in the dream, because I knew that I had slept with an HIV positive man. And when I woke up from that dream, I was so miserable. Because I was like, God, how long is this guy going to keep on trying? Because he's miserating me with all of this witchcraft. So he ran into my knife. Maybe it was the 7th time last night. He ran into my knife again. I sent him an email where I was telling him, just go die. I am exhausted with your witchcraft. What am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with a man that can't, when I started talking here, I made a jokey, sort of kind of songy, you know how it can be so jocose, full of parody and satire, even though this is a matter of very serious magnitude. About how it is that whatever happened to I'm down on bended knee, whatever happened to just begging a woman to come back, whatever happened to just talking a woman back into your life, whatever happened to buying flowers and really just kind of bending over backwards, trying really hard, serenading, singing, I don't know, buying, I could say, like, all the stuff that guys would do when they lose good made. And then he's like crying. My ex-boyfriend, he used to cry. Yeah. I used to make a joke about how it is another vibe. Baby, please. He would cry. And it won me over literally 10 out of 10 times. I always went back. My deliver them to my office. And at the time, I'm like, I guess bye. I want to leave. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Ultimately, after I'll never walk again until you come back to oh, baby. Oh. After enough of that, I was like, you know what? If only I gave you one last chance with the devil, you got to be faithful. So yeah, I finally was like, fine, one last chance, Nja. If you bark bad, Nja, if you dare do something strange and don't act like a little poodle or a chihuahua, but you're actually acting like a Rottweiler, it's over. Yeah, well, it ultimately was over, but I gave him a chance. I did. Why? Because he did what men are supposed to do when they want women back. Let's talk about this further in the next part.